Alright, so we are now looking at a silver 1, I believe it was Invis and also Rocket player. Cool. I think you said yeah, so you said you played Rocket in this match. I think this is gonna be the first review I've actually got to like review a Rocket, which is great because I've actually just been grinding Rocket. I just the other day hit Eternity on Rocket. Uh, as the for this season. So I've been playing a lot of Rocket, and I think he's really overpowered right now. Like I prefer Cloak, but like dude, Rocket's just so much better right now. Um, Invis is also really good too. I think she's a little bit harder. But she is a very good character, and I see a lot of her in my ranked games. Alright, so, you right here. That's the one we're looking at. Alright, cool. Back to the start. Alright, we got the armor packs down. Not very good.
2, 1.
A shield? Well, okay. Even I have trouble grasping the majesty of this place. I'll patch you up. I have suffered severe damage.
So off the bat, I will say, this is a little bit tough because your support lineup is Ultra and Rocket. If they are good, they should know that the heals are probably a little bit limited on him because you know you're Rocket, you're not the best at healing flyers. But you'll want to be like checking up on him every now and then. But your primary job is going to be keeping frontline up and everyone else up.
Ow! That fucking hurt! How refreshing. I'll be ship-shape in no time. Feeling fantastic. Enemy ahead.
So I'll say you want to be a little bit up on it, like be kind of on it in terms of being in the play. Like this is where all the pressure is going to be. The second that I see that these guys go around, you kind of see you've got a good position right here.
You're welcome.
Then you see they start to go around the corner, and you can see the payload is going to start blocking you here. You're going to need to kind of start transitioning your position pretty quickly and not get it to the point where they suddenly get cut off and they don't get healing for like 3 seconds. So either you can start pathing up here a little bit earlier, or you probably want to use one of your dashes to just get up here quickly.
That's the boost I needed. Literally.
Like right here, this is now a no. This is bad because we're gonna start not being able to see these guys. I'd probably just be dashing immediately. If this happened to me, I'm dashing immediately so I can play right here. Right. I know there are people like focusing you here. If you dash up and start getting pressured, then you can dash back and see you're being pressured. But you want to do as much as you can right here. It is your cap's job to like maintain their own health bar and make sure that they're not going too crazy. But you want to be able to provide as much support as possible. So try to avoid finding yourself just a little bit too far back, not on the right angle. This is like a particularly like it's this corner is easy to get cut out here. It's honestly I kind of like playing over here and have the ability to play on top of this thing because if I'm right here, I can heal all my team right here. Right here, I can ricochet it off that wall to ping it at my team like right here, and then when they start pushing down here, I can be blasting shots to them right here. And another advantage is that you're never getting blocked by the payload on this little angle here. The other thing to watch out for is, of course, you're a bit more exposed to flying characters. So if you're coming out here and Storm and Torch start nailing you, you'll need to reposition. But that's kind of one of the good things about Rocket is you can reposition very quickly, very fast because you can run on walls, you can dash around. So try to get as good a position, good a line of sight as you can of your whole team. You kind of want to be firing the orbs where they're going into like everyone. And try to, if you can, get the direct hits because that makes a very big difference. Getting that additional 50 heal burst if you get that direct hit. Um, yeah, you can also aim at feet to get the bounce twice. That is a bit situational though. I usually do that as like a burst healing thing for like one person. Um, Whereas it's as a general good way to use it is just kind of like fire it directly into your whole team, so it flies through the whole team and hits everyone. Let's see now. Yeah, I don't like us sitting back here for this long. You can see like Cap's pretty low now, and like I said, you know, it's Cap's job to not die. He has a lot of, you know, gap closing. He has two big gap closing abilities that he can use to get in and out. But the more you help him, the more you like sustain him, the more good he can do for your team, right? So if you get more healing on him, you allow him to do even better. I do like putting the res down in this corner. Throw it here. That way your team can push up even further without it being out of range. Also, if you put it here, it's easier for people to notice. Like if they come out here, they just instantly gonna notice it. There isn't a chance that they don't notice it here. And also, if someone pushes you around here, they might notice it here. Just in the corner is better for many reasons here. Um, how long have you had this res off cooldown, by the way? I didn't even think about this. So you've had the okay, you had the res as well. It's okay to have the res here for like the start of the game. But as soon as your team is past here and no one's died, you want to pretty quickly take this down and put it down right here. That's kind of my go-to play. Um, you can't. I've never really put it anywhere over here or anything. If your team's really far up, you can have the res like up on this ledge right here. If you know you're fighting where the enemies are literally like not out at all, they're like kind of trying to get back onto the site, then it's absolutely fine to put your res like right here. But this is kind of like my go-to spot. This is like the spot right here. I will say if you notice that you're against like a flanker, like a Psylocke or something, and he's coming over here a lot, you may need to move your res somewhere else and have a bit more passive, like up here or something. But I'll be real honest, in my games, I stick it here. It pretty rarely dies. I don't have too many people coming and breaking this one. Yeah. So I'd say as your regular rollout for this, well, not really rollout, but I guess initial start, you can kind of have the res there at the start, and then come out. If there's a lot of pressure here, you could consider moving it and putting this to res like right here because we don't have control of this space yet. But if we get control of this space pretty quickly, probably just be healing here before the cart's too far along, stick the res down, and then probably dash over here and be playing this angle. Or here. This is okay, just the issue is the cart can block you, so I prefer up here. You can also just be playing in the lane too. This is fine. You just need to be ready to adapt to the where the cart is and where your team is. Make sure we're healing the Ultron. We did actually see him take damage like right in front of us. Right there, we see that. That should be something we notice for sure. If Ultron's flying, way too high, then and you don't notice him, that's not really your fault. It's his job to ping that he's low and play cover for a second so you can heal him. But if he's flying low, this is actually what you do want to do as a flyer, is fly kind of low enough to the point where your supports will see you. He's doing his job there. You need to be able to turn and notice that he's low and heal him up ASAP. I would not be minigunning here. The only time you really use minigun is like if their front line is on you, because the Rocket's minigun is actually pretty good for just like shredding tanks when they're out of position or you're like trying to gang up and kill people. Especially in your ult, it's very good to be using Rocket's minigun in your ult. That's a very good use of it. Um, but right now, like we don't need to be minigunning. We need to be keeping our team up. Yeah, I would never really be minigunning a flyer. Your Rocket's minigun also has a huge damage fall off, so you can see right now you're tickling this guy. You hit him like twice, and look at his health bar, right? Meanwhile, there's an Ultron right next to you that's like crying for health right now. Right? Now we notice him. But that was a lot of time that Ultron had to play safe and didn't get as much value because we didn't heal him. And he also could have died there. Like, something could have happened where someone sneezed on him and he died, and that would have been bad because that would be our res already used. Here, I'd say we're playing too far back because, I mean, well, you can see right here, but my concern is that they're not going to stay here, right? You know, the people can move forward, and when they move forward, you won't be in position to help them. So you can play far back, but make sure that you're ready to adapt to where your team is. Also, I don't know what we're shooting at here. If you're playing here at all, shoot right here so that it hits your team and also ricochets back and hits them off that little. You can see right here. It'll bounce off this corner and then back into your team. That'd be like the best place to put it. I feel like we are aiming a little high. You can aim them a little lower. If anything, you can also aim at their feet here. This is you got people that are low. You can aim at people's feet so that has the chance to bounce and do the double. In case you don't know, I probably should have mentioned this is a thing. If you shoot at your allies' feet, you know what? Let me show you. It's worth showing. When you heal with the direct hit, you'll hear it makes a little audio cue. Okay, like the little do. If I just fire it here, it just has like the passive sound. But if you gotta do it like this, you hear that little bursty sound. But if I shoot at their feet like this, you're gonna hear the bursty sound twice. You see it bounce 2 times. That's because whenever it hits a wall or a surface or something, it will refresh the ability for it to do a direct hit.
You're welcome.
You hear it does it twice. Which is huge because that means that you will get, 100 bonus healing just because you did that. It is a little tricky. Like it's well, not tricky, but like specific and where you have to aim. It's like right at their feet. If you do too far, it'll go through them and bounce too late and it won't hit them again. If you do it too early, it won't have the direct hit before it bounces. So you have to do like right at the feet.
I'll patch you up.
And it'll then do the double. This is like situational. It's good for like burst healing through things. One really good reason is for living Psylocke ulti. If you and your other support are doing like patty cake to live a Psylocke ulti, and you aim right at their feet, that's a much better way of actually keeping them up through it. Whereas if you just like do it like this, they're probably gonna die because you're doing 80 health a second rather than what is it, 130? But yeah, 130 health a second if you do this.
You're ready for
So just some good tech to know. So as I was saying, like right here when your front line was kind of low, like right here you could definitely aim at the feet to try and burst heal these guys since you're like you're like right. Well, you were a little bit earlier, right here. Like that's entirely possible to try and burst heal him. That's the main reason I do it, right? If someone's critically low, might as well aim for the feet, right? Because you're not gonna do any less healing by doing that. The only thing that you're doing that is not beneficial by doing that is the orb won't be like perfectly lined up for other people. So it's good for burst healing one target if that target needs like a bunch of healing. So just go for that. Aim at his toes. Worst case scenario, it just does the regular direct hit, and it is what it is. I feel like we're kind of we're looking at people that are full HP and just holding our heal down. Like, I mean, you can also just like not be shooting the heal sometimes. Like, so if everyone's full HP and you don't see anyone to heal, you don't need to be firing the heal. It better be probably just reload and look for someone who is low. 'Cause right now you only got one and you're gonna have to reload. Like imagine you were looking at him and he's throwing the healing orbs and you look back and then you have like your tank like 25% health left and you can have one shot at the fire and then you have to reload and then he dies. Whereas if you didn't fire all those at the person resurrecting, then you would have the ability to save them. So if you don't see anyone who actually needs healing in the moment, probably just reload and don't spam your healing orbs. Again, don't be shooting at the flyer. Like you tickle him. You're the tickle monster versus the flyer. You like It's not even tickle, bro. Like you sneeze on this guy. Like the storm says bless you and walks around the corner after you like tickle them or sneeze on them. Gesundheit rocket. I feel like we're aiming a little high. I will say like the orbs, like you can't always. There's not always the opportunity to fire these and have it ricochet back to your team. But if you're aiming this high every single time, it's always gonna ping and fly up, right? Whereas if you aim low, it might hit something low and stay low and come back to your team. So make it so you have the greatest chance that the orb comes back and heals someone. Like you're never gonna hit anyone a second time if you're aiming the orbs this high. Breaking the shield is actually a okay reason to fire the minigun because it's a big target, so you're not going to be missing that much. That's all right, but only really do that if your team isn't fighting, which they are. So instead of breaking the shield in this range, I would probably just be healing the team here, like fire orbs down main. Um, do your job there. We could definitely be crawling up this wall, by the way, and healing right here. This is a nice spot because you have the option of playing cover when you need to, and you're closer, which makes it easier to hit. And you can also, again, aim at the toes, possibly here. Um, okay, so that's actually pretty huge that they used Invis ulti here. With your lineup, you don't actually have the greatest defensive ult comp. So when you see this Invis ulti, you probably want to calm your team. Like it's good they use Invis ulti. Let's back up and wait for it to run out. And now you're actually like even on the defensive ults because you're gonna have Euro soon and they're gonna have Luna ult Snow soon, or in this case actually they already have it. Um, which is good because then you're not gonna have a situation where they have more defensive ults than you, which is a big deal. So them using that here is huge because you can see that your team is relatively uncommitted. Like the only people that are really up in there are Fantastic and Cap, and both of which are characters that can pretty easily survive this and like get out. Fantastic probably going a little too hard here. This is a calm to your team. We want to come back because they use Invisibility here. Like Fantastic's going too deep. Yeah, see, he dies. He shouldn't have done that. Not that it's your fault, but calm your team. Say, good job. We made them use Invisibility. Let's just say, keep it short and simple in the game. Like back up, team. Or like back up, kite that out. Because this is what you want. You want all your team here outside of the Invisibility, just chilling and being like, all right, well, you guys are invincible, but we don't really care. We're just gonna, chill here and make the cart move outside of your ulti, and where they're gonna live. All right, and then we have Rocket ult coming up. Now, one thing I will say is Rocket ult against Luna ulti. If they play it well, when you Rocket ult, they can Luna ult in a way that allows them to walk up and break your Rocket ulti. So you want to be careful not to do your best to put the rocket ult as far away from them as possible. When that way they can't. It's like they have to go really far up to come and break it. Um, like if you're using it to counter something they do, probably just like stick it a bit against this wall until you're hearing to back up, so that they don't go out of range of it. If they're clumped together and you want to use it a bit more aggressively, then probably stick it somewhere like right here, um, or as much against the wall as you can with it still seeing everything. Just so there's less total angles. The most important thing is to not put it close to them because of fall off damage and the fact that some characters are melee, right? For example, they're all ranged characters here, but they have a lot of fall off damage, right? Starlord is going to do a lot more damage close. Stranger could do a lot more damage close. So put the ult further back rather than too close up. Um, I mean, okay, I wouldn't be using your rocket ult here. The reason being is your guys are kind of already winning this fight, right? Alright, let's see what happened. You had Strange on you? Let's see.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, you can't ignore the Strange being up here.
I'll be shipshape in no time.
Yeah, so you see how these guys are limited in how many people they have right now. You're actually kind of hurting them back into this corner, and Strange is the only one here. Um, I would argue that you guys are not at risk of dying at all. And this guy, sure, I mean, this role is putting more kill pressure on him, but like he's already under kill pressure. This guy's already like going too far.
This is real.
See, he died, but like I would argue he probably would die without the ulti, right? So this ult isn't really doing much for you guys. This is good for them because what they're gonna do is they're gonna kite out and they're going to wait for your ult to go away, and then they're gonna re-engage a Luna ult and probably W key into your backline with the Luna ulti because they know that you guys can't stop them because you don't have a second defensive ulti on your team, right? If you did have a second, like if you had a Luna Snow on your team or an Invis or a Cloak and Dagger and they had ult ready or like almost had ult ready, then I would be more okay with this rocket ult. But still, even then, it's not really forcing anything. But you could consider using your ult more aggressively because you push into them, force them to either give space and recontest their ulti after, or you force them to ults in response immediately and then walk out and stop you, and then you kite back and then go back in with your defensive ulti because they don't have any now, and then you win by going into their backline, assuming that they're out and committed and in a position where they can't just walk away. Um, but this is bad because they are able to walk away. This guy wasn't, but he was already screwed, right? He already played this too aggressively. You can see, like look at him. He walks out. He's the only one up here, right? And none of your team is at risk of dying. That's the other key thing. None of your team is at risk of dying here. The only one I would say is slightly risky is you, but that's only because you were like positioned right next to a Strange. Like you can very easily just run at the wall and go away, or just like not be in the front in the first place. Um, so yeah, I would not ult here.
This is real firepower.
See, realistically, what these guys should be doing now is having Luna pop ult and walking out now, because your ult's not gonna last that much longer, right? They push it into your backline, and what are you guys gonna do? There's zero reason that these guys needed to lose that point. Like, watch. I want to show you. All right, right here, Luna is ulting. All right, so here, let's do it with their perspective, okay? We're gonna pretend that I'm Luna Snow. I see the rocket ult. I said, okay, guys, come back. We're gonna recontest with Luna ulti in a second. We're gonna wait for rocket ult to go away.
This is real.
Everyone walks back. Strange dies because he's an idiot, but that's fine. We walk back. We walk back.
Firepower.
Okay, and about right now, this is because I don't want to let our team get too far pushed up. I don't want to risk me dying. I'm gonna go ahead and say, okay, now we're gonna W key. We're gonna W key. Go, 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 go. Right? And we start walking a Luna Snow ulti. We walk, 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 walk. And at this point, they probably can walk away. And not let us roll them in the back line. However, it will allow us to easily walk back out here and not be stuck in this choke. And we'll be able to have control of cart, and you don't have a defensive ulti to roll us anymore, right? So we're kind of be back on even footing, um, rather than us losing a point. Um, if you hadn't used rocket ulti, what could happen instead is the Strange dies. We start clustering them in here. They're forced to Luna ult to contest the point to get through this choke. We kite back, and then we pop rocket ulti and force a play where they don't have another defensive ulti. That's what you would want to do, because that's how you win the fight. If you have a rocket ult up and they don't have a defensive up, and they don't have any way of staying alive during the rocket ult, like you just win, right? What are they gonna do? This is a choke as well. Like you're gonna be doing 25% bonus damage into a choke. Like there's no way they live this.
I was worried.
make sure we're gonna move our res here. Let's see. Where did you put the res? I thought you had it over. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Res is here. Good res. I neglected to notice when you put that down. Um, yeah, that's a good place to put it. Um, as you're moving up here, good places to put it are if you know that not pushing you on the right here, you can stick the res right here. I like putting it here. This is a good spot. Or if you guys are easily in control of this space, you can fly up, break this, and put the res right here. They will see it if they come over here. They'll see like armor packs and I think a little bit of it maybe, and come break it here if they come up here. But if you guys have, very good control of the space and maybe you're not against flankers, then this is very good because you can push all the way up here and they're going to be in range of this res the whole way. So that's a really good res. We're aiming very high, very consistently. Get used to aiming a little bit lower. Because none of these orbs are ever going to bounce back into your team. They're all going to fly up into space. Like not all, like I said before, not all of your orbs are going to bounce perfectly back to your team. But if you're aiming up here, none of them are going to bounce back into your team.
Thanks. Wish I could hear you better.
Yeah, a little slow in the reaction. You can definitely double dash and get behind that wall pretty easily here. I think that's just a little bit of a slow reaction to that ulti. But I saw you try. Yeah, you need to double dash for sure. Just dash, dash. Dash, and then dash slightly at an angle. Like, before you go, dash, like, slightly out to the left here. Just to give yourself an angle to then have your second dash go right here behind this wall. Okay, I see we're switching Invis. Interesting. I don't think there's any reason that you need to switch to Invis. But it's alright. The one thing that is nice is I think you can give Ultron a shield, which is good. But you're absolutely fine playing either one of those characters. Just personal preference at this point. Okay. I gotta put my invisible man coaching eyes on now. That's a good pull. I like it. I'd probably try and play a bit further up because we can see that we got people fighting here. We've got I know we have allies here, and we probably don't want to. I can understand us not wanting to go past them just so we can see them for healing. But in this position, you've got a Hulk all the way up here, and you want to play to help your Hulk because he's the one that's probably gonna have the most pressure on him, right? Oh, and the Cap, right? Cap is probably a little far up, but this is just a little too far back considering where your front line is because we can't see them.
A little help, please.
Yeah, I'd probably at this point. I mean, I don't like us wasting our double jump too much, but at this point I'd probably just be double jumping so I can insta drop the shield in this guy and heal him up ASAP. I want to have 0 chance he dies. Yeah, okay. Perfect. All right.
I am ready.
Don't be looking to fight the Human Torch. Don't be looking. This is just not your job. This is not your job. Your job is keeping your front line up. Like you can shoot this guy if he's like point blank on you and he's like overextended or something. But he's playing a regular position. Don't be shooting this guy. Play for your team.
To put on a show. Feeling fantastic.
I don't like us jumping away here. I don't think we have a reason that we need to jump away, and this is just taking away healing from our team. If you're worried about the Star-Lord spinning on you, just push him away. Okay, we need to be more on it in terms of focusing the correct people at the right time. The people that are the most important to heal are ones that are low, that have pressure on them, right? I know Cap is low, but this guy is also low and he has pressure on him, right? So I never want to see us turning away from a critically low health target that has the pressure on them. Like you're right in thinking I need to heal my Captain America, but that's the kind of I would think. Okay, I know Cap's low behind me. I'm gonna heal this guy first, and then I'm gonna look at Cap, right? We need to make sure that we're thinking about preventing death. Um, Preventing instant death or relatively quick death is our primary focus. And you're not always gonna be able to save your teammates from their mistakes, but the more times that you are able to do it, the more success you'll have as support. He got hulked, demech. Like yeah, we just walk up, heal that Hulk as much as we can. The only reason I could understand maybe you'd be looking away is if you think he's like already dead, but I wouldn't give up on him here. I think you at least look and try. And then when he comes out of Hulk form, you can try and push, try and give him shield, give him anything you can to try and save him. I think you already used your push. Yeah, no, you put the so yeah, wait to put the shield down until he's done his animation, or like right at the end of the animation. That way you have the shield up when he is actually able to be damaged. Because when he's switching from Hulk to Banner, he can't be hurt. I get we ult to try and save him, but the timing just wasn't there. I saw we got our ult like basically when he died. Don't ult it. Like it's too late. He's dead at this point. This ult doesn't really do anything because your enemies are able to easily walk away. Um, they also have a defensive ult ready to go. No, sorry. They have a defensive ult ready to go. Um, and we don't know that for sure, but they can walk away. They can probably match the defensive ulti. And our team is not at risk of dying, right? He already died. So panic ulting here is it's just not gonna do anything. Like the only thing it'll do is forcibly get a little bit of space on cart, right? Because it'll walk up for the 8 seconds. But then all they're gonna do is walk backwards and then recontest you, knowing that they have defensive ult advantage, right? Because you are literally the only defensive ult in your team in this lineup. Um, like Ultron has the ult that can kind of heal, but it's nowhere near at the same level as like Invisible Woman. Um, what you guys can do is use offensive ults to force out defensive ults pretty quickly, right? Because Ultron is basically just another defensive ulti, or sorry, another offensive ulti. You use it and you can just nail the backline and kind of force a defensive ult out. Or just you put a lot of pressure on with Ultron ulti. Um, but that means that you need to be very stingy with your ult. Your ult needs to be pretty much always just for keeping your team up. You can't you don't really have the option of using your ult offensively because you are always gonna have ult or a defensive ult economy disadvantage. So you need to be very stingy with this ulti. Yeah, so they just match it, right? And then I don't remember when Luna ulted, but it's not gonna do much for you, right? These ults are just gonna do nothing. Like sure they go away, but they didn't need the match. That's the other thing, right? They didn't in this position. They didn't need the match. They could have very easily just walked away and then invis ulted after your ulti, and then just run you down. So sure, they matched, and in this situation, it's kind of neutral. Like honestly, that's probably a good trade for you. Invis ulti for invis ulti. All right, that's not bad but that's only because they chose to instantly match it. They could have chosen to not match it, walk away, and then use Invisible aggressively into your team. They could have chosen to wait a second, like wait 3 or 4 seconds, and then match, and had a little bit of advantage, which I don't think is the best choice, but it would still be giving their team an advantage in this situation. Um, choosing the ult there just gives all the advantage to your enemies, and is not what you want to do. Probably don't use our shield inside our Invis ulti. That's a very useful cooldown, and inside your invisible when ulti, people are invincible basically. So try to have that ability off cooldown for when the ult ends, and you actually need to keep them up. Pull your shield when it's 21 HP, just instantly. Like you can see it's at 21 for quite a while. You've had your shield at 21 HP for so long that you could have a full HP shield now. I would assume that you just get out here. Yeah. Definitely don't try to fight anyone. Yeah. Good call. Good call. Oh, I wouldn't be doing. I would just walk back, bro.
Clearly you needed
You never know if someone's goaded and they just snipe you in the head 2 times.
some help.
Don't be spamming our shield out too much like this, alright? So actually there is a different video where I reviewed an Invis. It's actually the one that I was thought it was you at first. That one that I just reviewed for an Invis woman. Um, I talk a lot about how to use the shield properly in that video, so you may want to reference it. If I remember, I'll leave a link in the thing. Otherwise, it's called like Invisible Woman Replay. I think it's the only Invis Woman review I've done on my channel, so you can probably find it pretty easily. But in short, the 2 main uses that I think you should be using your shield are number 1 to save people, so using it on someone who's actually risk at dying, or is taking a lot of pressure and you need to like help negate that pressure, um, which typically is not going to be your front line when they're at full HP, because your shield has 250 health, right? This Hulk has like, I don't know how much Hulk how HP does. Is it like 800? How much health does a Hulk have? 750, right? Okay, if Hulk takes 250 damage, he has 500 health left, right? That means that's honestly that's 250 ult charge for you, right? So go heal that up, right? If Hulk's at 250 health, like he's missing 2/3 of his health bar, and he's actively being damaged, then yes, that would be a good time to drop the shield on him because he's actually at risk of dying. Like that shield can make the difference between him dying and living. Um, that's also a reason why if your DPS is under a lot of pressure, it can make sense to put the shield on them when they're at relatively high health because they actually can be deleted. One of uh, well, actually, that's the other reason to use it. But first reason is to save people, right? To save people from getting pressured a lot. The other reason is to help people win duels. And this is especially useful for long-range DPS characters fighting other long-range DPS characters. Reason being is if you think on the extreme end of like Hawkeye versus Hawkeye, if one Hawkeye has a shield and the other one doesn't, they're gonna win the duel, right? Because it's the first one to hit a headshot wins. They hit the headshot, the other one hits the headshot but is blocked by a shield. Your team wins, right? Because you won the duel. So having a shield is good for either winning a duel or forcing the other team to not be able to fight that angle because there's a shield, right? One of the scariest things you can have is like a Black Widow with a Mantis and Invis because she's just rapid fire headshotting, and anyone who peeks out to try and fight her will just die instantly and can't even kill her because she has a shield in her. So that's a really good way to use a shield is for long range duels. That is situational, and you need to be aware of the compositions that you're fighting. So your team is an Amor, their team has like Star-Lord Storm, not this. I mean, this and Johnny Storm, not really the biggest reason to be giving the shield. If your Namor is actively fighting a Storm, and who's maybe slightly closer to us, then yeah, you could drop a shield on him, force the when they will there. But for the most part, this is looking like a composition where you're probably going to be using a shield more to just uh, save people. But drop other reason like put it on the more sure that makes it if he's fighting a duel, you can drop the shield no more. That makes sense to me. What you don't want to be doing is dropping the shield just in the middle of your front line or just in front of your team whenever, because that is going to be blocking non-impactfully, right? The damage it takes is non-impactful because it's not really doing anything. All it's doing is really just denying you ult charge and doing a tiny bit of healing. Um, I guess that's a third reason to use a shield is to heal. Like if you're being dove, you can drop it on someone and stand next to the shield to be healing yourself. Yeah, another reason for using a shield. But reasons for using it to block damage is saving people and helping win duels. So avoid putting your shield down in places where it's going to break instantly without doing anything greatly impactful. If you drop it on like a DPS who's taking a bunch of damage and the shield breaks instantly and they get out, like that makes sense because if your shield broke instantly when you put it on DPS, your DPS probably was gonna die instantly, right? That makes sense. Um, One of the reasons I think it's really good in long range duels are because the damage you're blocking, is just like from the duel, right? So it's directly impactful. It is directly affecting that duel. So it's a very like it's very good if you're against a Hela, right? And the more if you're no more fighting a Hela as huge, right? Putting that shield in them is great, especially because Hela has headshot critical multiplier, meaning that her damage to the shield is actually less than her damage to the Namor, right? So it's gonna take her many shots to actually break the shield because the shield doesn't have a headshot multiplier.
That's much better.
I know you can use the little thing to make him fall out of the sky. That's a good use. The only thing is you probably want to do it when it's like going to be impactful. Because here it just goes away instantly.
That's much better. Invisible?
This is the kind of thing I want to see us doing a lot as Invis is lining up and playing an angle like this. Just be aware that just like before when we're playing Rocket, we're gonna be ready to move up and play with our team where the pressure is. So like right here, I know there is a Johnny Storm and he can pressure you. That is kind of your team's job to, pressure him. So don't hide too far back being scared of him. I also notice you're a little bit low. You can ping. You can see your Ultron is like ahead of you, so he is gonna have no idea that you're a little bit low. So if you want to get in that play immediately, you can ping that you're low. You could also just put the shield in the Moor and stand in the shield for a second. You could also jump forward and play invisible for a second um, to restore health. But you want to find a way to restore health and get in this play quickly. Yeah, like we're just putting the shield out kind of whenever. Like I understand on Ultron, but like yeah, you could leave the shield in Ultron. That would make sense to me. I don't like us just dumping it on the front line. I don't like us dumping on the front line. Like here, if we were up there now, that's where we'd be putting the shield in the front line, because that's going to be impactful. I'd argue that we probably shouldn't have left there.
Clearly you needed some.
I'd stay up with your team. They're fighting this. They're choosing to push in, try to get kills. Because one thing you can do here is if the enemies they should choose to do the little thing where they switch spawns, but I've seen plenty of times that people don't do that and then they get picked and it's a huge stagger. So you push up with your team, fight for that stagger, see if you can get it.
Help.
Your Hulk actually goes down now, right? Yeah, and pull his shield back now because it's about to break.
Anyone willing to help? I am ready to put on a show.
I really don't like us dumping the shield here. You're in a perfect position to be pocketing these guys at your primary fire. You want to be using the shield for something that is something that your primary fire can't handle well on its own. Also, you need to be pulling the shield whenever it's low. At 40 health, just pull it. That's a good call not to ult, because your team was not at risk of dying there. Your team is not. You can see all their enemies are all the enemies over here. I know they had a Luna Snow ulti, but you see how if you look at their ulti here. See, this is a bad ult by them because they've only got 2 people here, right? So they're not gonna have any kill pressure at all, right? You guys can easily pocket yourselves against. It's actually, to be honest, it's one person, right? Because Luna can't attack during her ult, so it's really just a Strange that is invincible temporarily. So I'm glad that you chose not to ult here. You were thinking about it, but I think you recognized, hey, I'm actually not really at, or my team is not really at risk of dying here, so I probably don't need to ult. The only thing I critique is you got a little close to Strange here, and I'd say that's probably one of the reasons that you were thinking about ulting is you saw the Strange and were thinking, oh, that guy's hitting me a little bit, right? So probably play it a little bit further back. You can push him away. Do you have push? When did you use push? I used to hear it. Yeah, I mean just double jump away. You see Strange on top, you just double jump, get away. If their team had been there been more of them pushing into you or something, or these guys had come out and played aggressively quickly, like if they had the option to, and they're starting to push you in the back, yeah, I'd invis ult that, makes sense. But you recognized that you were not under kill pressure, and the enemies, there was only 2 of them, right? And if you ult, they're probably just gonna walk away if the remaining Luna ult and live, right? And I mean, you're already winning this fight. They're already forced to leave, and you're not gonna be able to run there in the back line because they're not inside your team. So this is a very bad ult. I mean, I'm sure based on what I just discussed, you can probably tell yourself that this is really, like this is terrible. This is very reminiscent of the first ult we did as Rocket. Remember in that one? The Strange walked up and we Rocket ulted and then he died. Take this ult away, and I don't think anything changes. I think that Strange still dies, right? Um, so this ult is not doing anything. And again, we're running Ultron Invis. We should be extra stingy with our defensive ults. Even if we had 2 of them right here, I would never ult this. Well, maybe I would, but if I did, it'd be a huge blunder, and I'd be like, guys, I am so sorry. I don't know why the heck I ulted that. That was terrible. Stuff does happen in the moment. I've done some pretty abysmal ults myself sometimes, and being like, why the heck did I ult that? But yeah, this is probably the worst way you could use your ult.
Clearly you needed some help.
Stay on the cart. We want to have as many people on cart as possible. Also note that when you're invisible, you don't count as a person on the cart. So if you want to sit in it, you need to like spam melee or something so that you don't go invisible. I know your team is playing pretty up here, but at this point, it's kind of up to your team to not play too aggressive and to understand that you have your team back on point, right? Oh, there's someone behind you. You guys want to have 3 on cart, ideally, or at least like 1 or 2, ideally 3, to get all this space, right? Because your team, yeah, you can run them down, hold them spawn, but what does it matter if the cart's moving at 2 miles an hour, right? You need to get this thing going quickly because your team is buying you time for this cart to move, all right? If they go and die while the cart's moving, that's on them, all right? You can maybe have one of your supports push up. I'd understand if you guys communicated and said, all right, you 3 stay on cart, I'll push up and help my team. That makes sense. But that only works if you guys have communicated that, and I've seen, you know, this guy, and this guy all sitting on the cart. Seeing a Hulk on the cart. I mean, okay, it looks like you might have been doing it for a second, but very clearly that's not what's happening. I mean, I will say it's so-so, because at this point, I won't critique too heavily on that. I think it was actually alright. I mean, you might have been coming. This is bottom of the line. Make sure that you are communicating with your team that 3 people want to be on this cart, because it will make a very big difference. So say 3 on, and it does make sense that we didn't have 3 on while we were fighting Johnny, because obviously he's a priority. He needs to die. But if Johnny wasn't there, I need to see 3 on cart. Yeah. Makes sense that we're up here now, because we know healing team, the cart's basically right here. And it looks like Hulk's doing a good job of staying on it.
Supernova!
Imagine if you had your Invis ult here. But I will say, I have no clue what these guys are thinking, because they should have been doing the Storm team up. I assume that's what they were trying to do, right? Because they had Johnny Storm, they had Johnny ult and Storm ult active. Where is my team up Storm ulti? Like, she should look at and hit the tornado. um, which I'll say, yeah, they would probably kill your whole team anyways, even if you invisulted that, because that team up's hella broken and will kill, like, you know, it'll remain after your ulti, so probably would die anyways. But they didn't end up doing that, so you'd get away with it here. But regardless, most scenarios, like imagine if you had Invis ulti here, your team lives a Storm ult. Like if it's just Storm ult and Storm ults in your team, or it's just Johnny Storm ult and you Invis ulti, um, it's a much easier time surviving against it, right? So that defensive ulti would make a big difference there. Not to say that you absolutely always need to have a defensive ult for those ults. There are some times where it does make sense to use a defensive ult without them having used Storm ult or Storm ult or Johnny Storm ult. It is good to have ults to counter ults, like especially like Star ult is one that you do want to have a defensive ult for, but you can't always forcibly have one for it. There will be times that you need to defensive ult before that comes out, um, and you don't want to like try and save your ult for the perfect moment, the perfectly counter the offensive ulti, um, if your team needs the ult now, right? Um, what I would say is you want to be cautious using your ults like more offensively. Like if you recognize that your team has an offensive ult advantage or a defensive ult advantage in like economy, like you have more defensive ults than them, you'd probably be a little bit hesitant about just spamming them with defense ults and running them in the backline, just because that is gonna open up the option of them just team wiping you after. So if you're gonna do that, you'd probably need to be like, by doing that, you guarantee secure a point. That way they can wipe you of the offensive ults after, but it doesn't matter because you already got the point. Um, but yeah, it's good to have ults to counter offensive ults, but don't let that be a reason to let your team die because Starlord didn't ult yet. I know, slightly off topic, but just something I wanted to mention because I'm bringing up the fact that you could have had your Invis ult to counter Storm. Okay. If you're getting nailed by Starlord in his ulti. Oh wait, no, you already. Okay, I see. I see. Unfortunate. Honestly, probably just sit against this wall. Give yourself the highest chance that Starro doesn't notice you. Because you're sitting out here. I mean, yeah, you're just gonna instantly die. If you'd been standing here, you might have. It was tough because you just got out of invisibility because you shielded that guy right before he started ulting. Yeah, that's tough. But you know, like I said again, imagine you had Invis ulti, right? If you had Invis ulti, just in general, you could have contributed a lot more to that fight, and there'd be a higher chance that your team is able to win. Um, just saying that because the time that you did Invis ulti, it didn't do anything. And every time you ult, you have to be getting value with it. There is no one singular perfect way to use a defensive ulti, but every time you do defensive ulti, you need to be getting value.
I have a shield, but no complaints.
Okay, again, we're spamming the shield out. It's damaged, like we should be taking it away for anyways because it's damaged. We want to restore it, but we don't want to stick our shield out and have it get damaged before a fight, before someone needs to be saved.
Disappear!
See, our shield's gone now, and it did literally nothing. We need to heal our team. Be better, more disciplined about consistently healing our team. I notice a lot of times we kind of stare off into space, maybe looking at flyers or something. Just look at your team, heal your team. It's good to pay attention to the enemies, but it should be more like you're paying attention to the corner of your eye, or like looking at the top on your screen. Like you're still seeing them, but your crosshair isn't on them, right? You need to be aware of her. Obviously I don't think we can see it right now because she's in an Invis ulti, but like be aware of Storm, but be looking at our team, healing our team. Count me shots. 1, 2. Was that 3? That was either 2 or 3 shots. But there was several shots that you fired that could have been healing these guys. All right, 3 heals from Invis will be huge here. I mean, you can see, look how much healing you did there, right? That's how impactful your healing is in Invis. I will say as well, Invis has like the highest burst healing in the game. Like her primary fire is so fast at healing people. If you're hitting both like the initial fire and the return fire, like it is so fast. So spamming it into your team and AoE healing, burst healing your entire team is a very strong ability, and you should take advantage of it.
I have a shield, but no complaints.
Oh, make sure we calm Magic back. I mean, okay, you've got no more fighting here. You should be chilling.
I am
Probably just jump high ground here. Just to make it so Magic can't delete you, and you can continue healing your team. You can just jump on top of this little thing right here. That'd be probably the best thing to do.
ready to put on a show!
Make sure we're not tunnel visioning on this Magic, okay? I know she is a threat, and you as your team as a whole needs to address this threat. However, your job is not to kill Magic, all right? Your job is to keep your team alive. Your job is to not let Magic kill you. It can also be to punish a Magic that's like out of position and low, while your team isn't at risk of dying. But at all times, you need to prioritize keeping your team alive over trying to focus Magic, right? So now we're starting to walk back to our team, right? I think you realized, you're like, wait a second, I need to heal my team.
I got you.
Up into Namor. Alright, perfect. Namor killed her. Excellent. He did his job. Do be aware of what's happening with that duel. Let's see, like, where's Namor right now? Namor went ahead? Namor! Oh, she died to a squid. Okay, I don't know what our Namor was doing there. I mean, absolutely Namor has to do with Magic.
Feeling fantastic.
My guy just decided to give up on the magic. Okay, that would be. He is trolling for that. What I would say is that as you go up here, you probably want to consider dropping the shield and the more to give him an easy time dueling the magic. That way you can multitask between healing your front line during this Luna Snow ult, while he deals a magic. Yeah, is Nomore's job. Nomore is like the guy to duel the diver, obviously. So I'm not sure what he was doing there. That said, you need to be, you're hearing the magic here. Be very aware of her, be ready to jump away. I think you probably were.
Got you covered.
Don't be using your jump like this though. You want to keep your jump off cooldown whenever you can, because it's your get out of jail free card. You see, you jump forward and you die. That's like the definition of the way not to use your jump. So stay back here. You could consider walking up and playing more far up if you need to, if you have your jump off cooldown, right? Because then you can jump away when you need to. But if you jump into the fight, you are jumping. You are basically putting yourself in a position where you're saying, "Hello, enemy team. I'm right in front of you, and I can't get away." Right? So that's a big no-go.
We're out of time. Disappear!
Okay, right idea. The issue here though is again, our team isn't at risk of dying, right? Um, and like this isn't an offensive ult, right? You're an offensive ult's for keeping our team alive. If our team is already in a position where we're killing them and they can't kill us, there is no reason to defensive ulti, right? Using our ult offensively does not it is not supposed to be for like killing a winning fight. The reason we would use an offensive ult, or sorry, the reason that we would use a defensive ult offensively is if they're committed and we want to run down their backline because we know that we have an ult economy advantage, they can't do anything, right? It just allows us to walk into them without risking dying, and they can't do anything, right? They already can't do anything. They have two people here. Our team has no risk of dying. Our Hulk is ulting, right? So the only person who would be ulting on your team right now would be someone with an offensive ult to just, forcibly kill these guys and not let them stall anymore, right? We want to just kill them fast, right? What you're using a defensive ult like this is actually really bad as well because what if they have a defensive ulti? Well, they come out here and they stall on point, and your ult isn't going to do anything, right? Because it's just an defensive ult exchange. And defensive ult exchanges, generally speaking, don't care about how many numbers each team has, right? Because unless you are able to one-shot the person in their defensive ulti, they're not going to die, right? So if Luna Snow comes out here putting on a party, then you're not going to be able to really do anything. I know right now they don't have any defensive ultis, but 58%. I'm gonna argue that there's the potential that they had ulti, and I'm gonna argue that you were not perfectly aware that they didn't have defensive ulti. But even if you were aware that they didn't have it, it's like why even ult here? Because there's no way your team dies here. If there was like four of them here and they were pushing a bit more into your team, I could see it. I could see if you're like aware that they don't have a defensive ulti and you want to push like into their backline. All right. Um, but that like again, you need to know that they don't have defensive ulti there.
Tech shield. The current score is 0-2.
I know you guys won that outright anyways, and it wouldn't have mattered. But for a large amount of games, you want to making sure that you make every play perfectly, the way that it should be, or as close to perfect as possible. And that's just a situation that it opens the opportunity of a throw. of a situation where the enemy somehow like Loki teleports out and has lamps on point, and then Luna Snow comes out with her ulti and stalls on point, and then their entire team's there, and then you win, and then you lose because they use an offensive ult and you don't have Invis ulti anymore, right? It opens up the opportunity that something bad could happen.
3. Time to switch things up.
What a relief. A shame to destroy such advanced spider tech.
Yeah. Okay. You know what's funny? I remember seeing one of the coaching things I did a long time ago. I saw someone doing something similar. I feel like you're afraid to look at the same target for a long time. Like it's good to be aware of what's around you, but there are times that you need to just focus on healing one person for a long time, right? And you can see right here, look fantastic. That guy is actively going in. This guy's at this is like clearly I probably a little bit closer here too. Like there's I don't really see any reason that we need to be this far back. And as Invis, you have a limited range. Like if you're playing Rocket, you could be playing a bit further back. That makes sense to me. But even then, it's like there's not really any reason that you have to. You can't. You're absolutely fine playing here. Um, but as Invis, you definitely need to be closer. That way you can hit the projectile on this guy, and you want to be actively focusing this guy. He is under pressure. This is the kind of person I drop the shield on too. Like I see my fantastic drop to half HP. I'm dropping the shield on him. I'm making sure that he's alive, right? If I see him in pancake mode, maybe not because I know he's gonna die. He's invincible there. Um, but I need to be actively thinking about who in your team is under pressure of actually dying. This is that kind of target. So he's in pancake mode there. You wouldn't need to drop shield. He's out of pancake mode now. He's full HP though. Don't know where we're looking here. I mean, I know we have an Ultron, but if your front line is actively being pressured, it's up to this guy to not just suddenly get deleted from behind you. To be honest, this guy should probably be playing an angle like this, where he has cover, right? That way, if he gets low, he can sit here and ping for healing like really quickly, or he could be like in this room playing cover right here. If he is flying over here and he suddenly dies, that's not your fault, okay? So you don't need to be spam looking over here looking at this guy. You need to do your job, keep your front line up, and Ultron needs to do his job, all right? If he gets deleted, like I'm sorry, like is what it is. You could, if you're noticing he's positioning poorly, which I would say this is kind of a poor position because he's out in the open, he could be deleted. You could drop shield on him, and then look at your team and focus on healing them. That way he has the option of playing around your shield. And at that point, if he flies away from your shield and dies, like okay, like you tried, like you did your job. um, but don't be like constantly like looking away randomly to try and check if Ultron's damaged because it is up to him to play accordingly. Um, I will say you can try and be playing far enough back so you can see him, but the issue is I'm a little concerned we're too far away right now to keep our front line up. Like, okay, we're at pretty much the perfect range here. This is all right. This works. Yeah, we are whiffing a few shots here, but like look, by the time we look back, Hulk's like a 2/3 of his HP gone, right? We look here, Hulk's full HP. Okay, then we start. Okay, if we drop a shield with 93, right? This isn't gonna last very long, and our team was full HP. I don't really know why we dropped shield here. We look away, we're staring in space. We look back, Hulk's about to die, right? That's the issue. We need to be constantly focusing here. This is the person who's taking pressure. This is the person that we need to be making sure we're keeping up. If Ultron is behind you and suddenly dies or something, that's not your fault, right? If Hulk is taking pressure, you need to heal Hulk. We're also kind of randomly using the push. The push is very situational. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to use it. I mean, the big obvious one is to push people away from you that are diving you. You can also use the pull out of position targets. You can use it to pull people off high ground. Like if a Loki's doing like the triple clones on high ground or something, you can pull him off. Or like a Punisher playing high ground, you can pull him off. Anyone pull off high ground. Um, you don't just want to randomly use it. It's not a damage ability. Like it does do some not terrible damage, but that's not the reason to use it. You should be using it for a specific purpose. You can also, of course, use it to push people off the map, but there's no application to that here. And the shield is not going in useful places. Like, what did your shield do there? Okay, kind of wasting a jump as well. Didn't really need the jump. We did also see our Ultron kind of low in the side here. When we see him low, we should turn and heal him. Yeah, I think Cap was a little too far up there. We potentially could have healed him, but I think he might die when we're looking at healing Ultron.
I got your back. Those spider bots won't be bothering us now.
Okay, so we need to start transitioning our position over here to avoid staying unnecessarily like in line of sight. Right here we can do everything we need to. We can heal this guy, we can heal him. We can see everything much more easily here, and we're not going to be focused as hard. I don't like us walking this far up. Also, I think I'm gonna not mention the shield as much now. I feel like I've mentioned the shield enough to the point where I'm not gonna mention it every 3 seconds. As a general rule of thumb, we are using our shield when we don't need to. I think we're just whiffing shots here.
I have a shield.
We missed a couple of shots we need to hit. We're also using the push when we don't need to, which is more time that we're not hitting Hulk.
But no complaints.
Ooh, again we're looking away. Like
Finally
look
bouncing
at
back.
our team. We could have potentially saved Banner.
Anyone willing to help?
Also, if you had our push off cooldown, we could be pushing when they are trying to kill Banner. That would be a good reason to use the push to try and alleviate pressure for someone. Focus on healing the Cap instead of damaging these guys. Yeah, there's the shield. I'm not gonna mention it. You be careful here. You're at 116 HP. I'd probably just jump back here. Don't risk it. That shield doesn't do anything. You could come back and put the shield into more, and then play shield so you can heal yourself. Since we're playing too far up, I would say Ultron actually is playing in a pretty decent position here because he's playing somewhere he can have cover, and he's playing somewhere that you should be able to see him. So you should be healing this guy. I like that shield for like putting it down for a second to make sure Ultron lives, but then pull it away. Considering the ulti, right? But nah. I know it's like an active fight, but you see, like our team is able to kite back here. They're not inside our team, and we're not like immediate risk of dying. If someone gets deleted here, that doesn't mean that you should have ulted. It's if they are our whole team is like being pushed here, or someone is there are times that you can ult to try and save one person, but it needs to be a situation where like you recognize someone is dying, you know that they're gonna die, and you have time to actually put the ult down. That could be like if someone's getting grabbed by Emma, that would kind of make sense. Like if you're like they get grabbed by Emma, you can see what the future, like what's about to happen. They're about to get like slammed into a wall and die. Like if it's like a half HP Hulk or something. But most of the time, you aren't gonna be ulting to save one person from getting picked. Um, like a squishy character most of the time. Like if your Ultron suddenly gets sniped, that doesn't mean that you should have Invis ulted. That means he got picked. He got destroyed. Hella got him or something. Um, so don't really think about it like that. It's more of like the bigger plays. Like their team is like hard diving into us or something, or they use an offensive ulti and push into us. I'd say we're playing a little far up. A bit more back here. You want to play in a position that allows you to see as many people as possible while you're still able to heal the front line. Also, being too far up means that you're more likely to be hit by enemies because they can see you. It also means there's more like off angles, right? This is now an off angle to you because you can't see both your team and this angle, right? Whereas if you're back here, you can, right? It's not an off angle anymore. Like the definition of an off angle, by the way, is an angle that's off your screen when you're looking at the thing that you want to look at. So like that's an off angle.
Feeling fantastic.
I would probably look and try to. Well, I used to heal Cap, but of all the times to look and try to kill someone, maybe that Starlord. He was spinning on you at like 1 HP. Yeah. Look at Starlord. Your Cap's relatively full HP. It is tricky though, because I mean Cap, he was full HP a second ago, but he's dropping. So I guess you probably do need to quickly recognize when you look back at Cap.
Feeling fantastic.
I definitely wouldn't be looking here. I already look at Starlord, try to kill him, then see Cap low and look at Cap. I agree. Okay, good shield because we drop it so that we can look back here. Then we probably insta drop shield on him because we notice he's low. Yeah, good. Then pull the shield away. Okay. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I have to mention it. Like shield here. Don't leave the shield there. No, we would not Invis ult Scarlet ult. Good. Good choice. Perfect choice. Perfect choice. Yeah. Drop a shield. Give your team the opportunity to maybe be saved by a shield. And yeah, push her away. Perfect. Excellent ability usage.
Strengthened for battle. I am strengthened for battle.
An extra force field? Great.
Okay. I wouldn't be playing too far over on the side here. More back here. This is a better angle. I like being like here. I can see my whole team. It also means as the cart moves here, I'm not going to be screwed in the wrong position where I get here, my team moves that way, and then the enemies move this way into me and kill me, or force me to jump away and have a moment of time where I'm not healing my team because I have to walk over here and be in a safe position.
I am ready to put on a show.
Oh, they double support ulted, nice. You need to pocket your Starlord. Maybe he didn't call it, maybe he did. I can't tell. If your Starlord calmed, then make sure that we're looking at where he calmed. If he didn't calm his ulting, try to if you can notice this, the faster you notice that your Starlord is ulting, the better. You want to be spamming shield on him, healing him as much as you can. He's gonna be focused, right?
This is real firepower.
Yeah, we could have been healing him more in his ulti. That's on us that he died so fast. I would say that he played a little bit too aggressive and could die still, but like this ult is kind of like right bang slap in their face, and he has no way of playing cover. But he also didn't get healed at all, so kind of on us. Did he do it when he was low? Let me see. He did ult uh around a corner from us. I mean, this is not a reason to play right here, right? Because actually, I would, yeah, that's on us. We should be here. We'd see Starlord here. We can give him shield. That's kind of on us. That's on us that we weren't able to heal him instantly. Um,
I am ready to put on a show.
yeah, and we didn't heal him at all in the entire thing. That's a mistake from us. That's actually a pretty big mistake.
Real firepower.
Yeah. So when they double support ult, thing is, we could have ulted when Startup was about to die. I don't think we necessarily would need to. I think we can just keep him up normally. Um, But if we aren't able to keep him up normally, then we can ult for sure to keep him up. If he's already dead though, looking at the position, you see how these guys aren't really pressuring our team to kill our team right now? Like there is really no reason that we need this Invis ult right now. We can wait a little bit longer. Um, the only reason that we'd ult this early is if they're like already on top of us and we're just dying, or like they're on top of us and we want to ult and push into their backline as their ults are about to end, right? That way they can't walk away easily. If you ult this early, what's going to happen is they're going to notice that you have an ult longer than them and they just walk up and back up and they yield for a second, right? You don't get the full value from this ulti. This ult basically, all it does is it stops them from moving into your team, right? And like you kind of want them to. You kind of want them to move up so that you can then counter defensive ulti and run them down the back. It's just they walk back and it's basically just nothing happens now, right? And not to mention, if your enemy team double defensive ultis, that's a huge mistake, right? They just use both their defensives. So we kite back. And eventually, if we can get away with just not using our defensive ulti, like just running all the way back here and kiting, like, bruh, they're so screwed, right? Because now we have a defensive and they don't. So we can save ours. On defense, we'd probably not choose to try and use our defensive ult offensively because we want to just buy time, right? If we're on offense, our job is to push the payload, and we could consider like trying to push like really hard into their team and then putting the defensive ult down when we're inside their backline is run them down. That would make sense because now they don't have a defensive ult to live. But on defense, we probably just save our defensive ulti to counter their next push because we'll just win it for free that way. And like, because if we run them down with the defensive ulti, it doesn't really matter, right? Because they just respawn their base and then come out and push again.
It's spider time!
See, now it would be really nice to have our Invis ult, right? For the Starlord ulti. That's a reason that we would want to ult. That is a lot of kill pressure that can actually kill us. We're scared of that. Alright, we could have prevented that pick on our Ultron. I mean, that really screwed our team. Like, look at our positioning now. Like, that Starlord ulti made a huge difference, and we could have negated that. Yeah, that's the point lost for sure. If they double defensive ult like that, and we kite back and keep our defensive ult, they're so screwed. Like that's the we missed out on an opportunity to just like hold them in a terrible position. Like I will say, like if I'm on a team where my team double defensive ults like that, in the comms I guarantee I hear like 3 sighs of just like, oh, why did we double defensive? Oh my god, oh, because they know how bad that is. Because they should never be able to do this now. Good shield. That's an example of a good shield. He was under kill pressure. He was at risk of dying. That shield potentially blocks damage and heals him in a situation where it makes a difference. Don't need to play this far up though. I know we moved up to be able to see Cap. The second he jumps out though, we start coming back. Right? The only reason that we want to move up there is for that angle, for being able to see him. Oh, by the way, this one's a little bit more tricky to get used to, but try to save your push when the enemy Strange can have ulti, because your push is very good at countering Strange ulti. So if you're unsure of Strange's ulti and he's in a position where he could ult, save the push if you can. Only use it if you have to.
That's the boost I needed.
No worries. I got your back. Please.
I have not seen so many spiders.
Good news. I got the box.
You can see your shield just dying instantly. I like this position. This is relatively good. Maybe a little bit further back, but this is what we're looking for. What is the shield doing?
This is real firepower!
Great.
If you want something to shield, you could walk here and pop shield and Scarlet to help her in the ulti.
No worries. I got your back. I am ready to make a showtime!
I mean I probably would ult.
I am ready to put up.
I would have probably ulted right here. At this point, I'm quite concerned about my team dying, and they've got Luna ulti up. But maybe I'd be wrong on that call. I mean, I'm they're half HP. If we're confident we can burst heal them out and walk back, okay, we don't need to ulti. But I'd be very concerned that this could be our team dying very quickly. I think Ultron could be focused quite fast there. Yeah. Honestly, I probably would have ulted that, just because of how much pressure was coming out there. I know Ultron lives and everyone else lives, but that kind of situation where they've got, you know, Penny is a relatively like kind of like offensive ult, like it goes, you know, into their team and starts doing mines. Your team was kind of far up here inside their team, and you had Ultron up with Luna Snow ult, and you know Luna can switch it to damage temporarily too, and have damage coming out and be doing a lot here. So I probably would have popped Invis ult relatively quick there.
Field? Great.
I mean, I can understand the motivation for trying to save it as much as you can, just to have it available for Starlord. That can make sense. That makes sense to me, especially you only have one actual defensive. So in this situation, because I guess you only have one defense in your team. All right, I guess that does make sense. I think I might do the same thing of just trying to save as much as I can for Starlord here. But like I said before, there will be situations where you don't have that option. Um, but in this situation, I think you played it well. I think that was the right choice in ult. I might have ulted though. We are having. I don't know if this is necessarily a whiff because I feel like we're just not aiming at him. Like I more than just like not hitting the shot. Like I feel like we're aiming at something else. Like here we're just not. Oh no, it was. It might just be a bit of discipline. Like the second you see him move to the side here, you need to kind of like flick over and consistently look at him. Especially because Invis is healing. It's actually pretty forgiving on the hitbox. Like you don't actually even need to like directly hit them. It will, if you're aiming relatively close to them, it counts. Not so much as like cloak, but like you still have a bit of lenience in actually hitting the shot. Like the particle's quite big. The hitbox of the particle is quite big. So you can definitely flick over, and you don't need to like take your time as much with aiming each shot, if that makes sense. So you can be a bit more like whoosh, like flick. Mm, okay, I know he's low, but he's safe now. He's in a safe position. I would focus on our front line. Our guy is actually in the fight.
They look like they.
I mean, yeah, his ult getting cancelled is not good. The second I hear that, I'd be like, what the heck, my strange is ulting? And like, I look at the front line. I mean, the second that I know anyone's ahead of me here, like I'm looking at my front line because this guy's safe. This guy's good. I don't need to worry about this guy.
They mean business. Invisible?
See, imagine if you had your shield there. I know I've been talking about like when to not like examples of when you don't really want to use your shield. I want to give you an example of why you need to not use it when you don't need it, right? So let's see.
I have a shield.
So you use a shield there. I mean, he was getting a bit pressured, I will say.
Much better.
Probably use it and then pull it back quickly. Like you recognize that he's out now. Well, you know, I'll be a bit more lenient on you on that one, I guess, because I mean, the shield did break relatively quickly, and that wasn't actually a bad use of it. But regardless, I mean, I in this situation, I actually don't think it was a direct cause of you having a bad shield. Um, but um, all the times that you have shielded badly have the potential to lead to situations like this, where they need the shield, right? Having the shield can save him here, potentially. It might not, but it has the potential to. We also did whiff a little bit, but you know, that's mechanics. You'll improve with practice. That's how that works. Practice shooting stuff and you'll get better at shooting stuff.
You're halfway there. Keep going. Only 60 seconds left.
Yeah, these shields are just. Ugh.
What am I? Invisible?
If we're doing this, make sure we do calm that he's over here. Your Scarlet came pretty quickly, so I think either she noticed or you calmed it. Actually, let me see. See if I can guess. Let's see. Based on what Scarlet was doing. Let's see.
What am I? Invisible?
She might have just heard it. I'm not sure. You might have calmed it, you might have not. But if you did calm it, good job. If you didn't calm it, calm if there's a Scarlet back here. You're fighting him. Because you don't really want to focus on fighting him that long because you need to be looking at your team to keep them up.
Feeling fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect ulti. That's a time that you do need it. Your team is at risk of dying. There's a bunch of pressure. Penny's inside your team. It's Starlord's ulting, or no, he's not. Sorry, he's not ulting. It looked like it was something. Uh, yes, this is exactly the kind of times that we do need our defensive ulti. And like I said before, there will be times that you need to use your ult when Starlord isn't ulting, right? And which you know that means that you're gonna have to deal with it. Like that's not ideal. Like you want to have a defensive ulti for that, but it's kind of just due to your lineup. You only have one defensive ult in your team. Um, But yes, this is perfect. This is exactly how you want to use a defensive ulti when your team needs it. How did that not hit you? What the heck?
I am ready to put on a show.
Wait, did we?
I am ready. Keep fighting until we have a winner. I am ready to win.
That's tough. Yeah, we jumped the dodge Scarlet ulti, and then we're going to heal our team. And then, yeah, that's tough. I mean, the only thing you can really do is anticipate that starter probably has ult soon and be kind of playing cover just so you have it as an option to getting out. But that is quite hard. Or that is a tough situation because you were dodging Scarlet ulti and your team is under pressure of dying. So yeah, that's tough.
I don't give up so easy. Anyone want to vehicle reach the checkpoint? Keep up the momentum.
Oh, tell your team to switch spawns here. Say switch spawns, switch spawns. Go back to spawn switch. See, Hulk's doing it.
Much better.
Oh, did he run out of time? Wait.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. The vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
He didn't run out of time. He just noticed that his entire team was coming out here and fighting it. Yeah, so this is really bad because you see how you've got one of your teammates back respawned here. This position forces you to fight here. You don't have a choice. There's no way to walk out here with like avoiding these guys. There's no like the tunnel or anything. It's a dead end. So if you don't switch spawns here and you don't have everyone here, which you don't, which 90% of the time, if you lose the point, you probably had someone dying on point trying to fight it. For example, your Captain America and whoever that, I think, what is that, Namor? I think they might have swapped characters. I don't remember. Um, this is gonna force you to fight a numbers disadvantage, a 4 versus 6, right? And chances are you're gonna have people die here, and which is gonna stagger you, give them a bunch of free space here, all the way here, and then that opens up the opportunity of people chain dying. Right, Namor might come out here and die like an idiot while you guys are respawning. It leads to potential for very very bad outcomes. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, to be honest, let me do bird's eye view. I think these guys are playing it terribly, like the opposition.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the
These guys should be W keying you. If I ever see people here, I'm telling my team to push because if this is by definition like a bad fight for them, right? This is like I don't know. I can't really give an example of a this is a terrible fight for them, and we want to take advantage of that. Everyone on this team should be W keying into you, like these guys. Strange should just be W keying, right? They should be pocketing Strange. I mean, yeah. Hulk ults are a kind of changes things, but that means we're dedicating an ult now. And this ult, this is not a time that we want to have Hulk ult go because watch, this cart I guarantee you is gonna keep moving like the whole time. Yeah. Oh no, Hulk killed one of them. How are we ever gonna move this cart now?
only 60 seconds left.
So now we managed to stop it a bit. Hulk's going down now though, because we didn't have the numbers for that fight, right? We went in and committed a Hulk ult in a fight that we didn't have like numbers on. That was actually nearly good because it's an Namor ulti. But you can see how it's not advantageous. We want to just swap spawns there. Tell your team to swap spawns. If they don't, whatever, right? But just, I mean, if your team doesn't swap spawns, just go back, let them die, wait for your team. I like the turn. Good turn. Nice try. I think did we miss? Or what? We did miss the shot, but that was a. This was good because it was you quickly acknowledging someone that was in the corner of your eye. That was a low target. This is the kind of target that we'd want to have our shield off cooldown for, though, right? Let's see. Okay, full HP target. He had his bubble. We didn't pull the shield. Putting the shield again, it's not really doing anything. Like, sure, okay, it can help Ultron in this duel, like, a little bit, but it's at half HP. I'd probably just pull it when it's this low. That shield is going to break instantly. At least it should. And it's not doing anything. I understand putting it on Scarlet for a second. That makes sense to me. But now it breaks, and that's where we need the shield, right? You can see the impact that you're having by using the shield at the wrong time and having it take too much damage when you don't. Like if someone did need it, it would make sense to use it here, and if that happens too, tough, right? But the less times you need the more times you can identify are situations where your team does not need a shield, the more times you will have the shield when your team does need it. Good jump, good reposition. Oh no, where are we going here? Ooh, okay, I think you recognized yourself that this is a mistake. Yeah, okay. I'm sure you can tell what you did wrong there.
Down to 30 seconds.
All right.
Thought you wouldn't see me again?
Again, it's just only a shield. This position's okay. Just be aware of people flanking you on the side here, like beware of audio. But yeah, that makes sense to me. Don't know the shield though. This is not a necessary shield. Yeah, definitely. Just pull that shield. Pull it. Get it off cooldown. I like the pull and penny. That makes sense to me. Well, the only issue is Strange's ulti. You be aware of situations where Strange can have ulti. In general, yeah, that's a good pull because you're pulling a character out of position. They're probably gonna take a lot of damage for that. But do be aware of Strange ulti here if you can. Think about what there are like a specific few characters that your ult directly counters, and you want to have your push available for those ults if possible. Strange is one of those ultimates. I mean, the pull did result in a kill though, so it still was a good pull.
I am ready to put
Oh, no, that's our Strange.
on a show.
He's gonna look for it though. Oh boy. Yeah, the second you hear that, you just have to jump. That is the downside of your team not having a second proper defensive ulti. Like, there's gonna be a lot of situations where we're kind of just screwed by Star-Lord. I would say this is a little bit of a composition issue, just because Star-Lord is a character that will very easily punish your team for only having one defensive. So unless we have some specific plan of dealing with it, that's gonna be a big issue. But you do need to jump. You need to jump immediately, and because you're one of the most important people to keep alive here, because well, you're probably the most important person to keep alive because you have a defensive ulti coming up. Yeah, because the thing is, yes, it is unlikely at this point that you guys are able to stall this point anymore. However, if you had jumped and not been the first one to die, there is now a low possibility that you manage to heal enough. You reposition, hide behind someone with a shield, hopefully, or just get body blocked by someone, and do enough healing to then ult, and then someone in your team comes out of spawn with Loki lamps, and another one comes out of Venom, and we somehow stall, right? It's unlikely. However, you want to open up that open yourselves to that possibility, right?
I'm opening a portal.
The current score is 3, 2.
All right, we're going to
3.
overtime.
The spiders have been killed.
Systems restarting.
Here you can play here. As Rocket, you can dash if you need to avoid anything. It's a much easier place to hit everything. If you're standing here and you aim at Strange, a lot of times it can like hit this ledge and bounce up and not hit Strange. Be a little careful of that.
I'll patch you up. Good medicine.
I do like us making use of this cover. This is a good position because you're able to play cover when you need to. So good job.
Down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. I like because your team was relatively healthy, so it makes sense to probably like throw a couple orbs in there, just bounce around, and hopefully hit Scarlet. But then you need to go back to hitting these guys. Don't be walking too far back here. Stay here so you can hit this nice lineup juicy shot.
You're ready for it.
Here you can be aiming at toes. There's only one person here, so you can be aiming at toes to open up the possibility that it double heals her. We're not looking at the right target there.
I'll patch you up.
Penny, you poor
This guy
sweet
isn't the one
child.
taking the most pressure right now. It's Penny. You can see there's people on Penny. He's pretty far back, and he's got a shield. He's chilling. Penny doesn't have a shield. Yeah. Should get deleted very quickly. But we should still be looking at her. Again, I don't know where we're looking here. Be better about recognizing where the pressure is and consistently looking at the people that are being pressured. Like I said, it's good to be aware of as much as you can, but it can't come at the cost of consistently keeping up allies that are under pressure. Primarily your front line. Again, just like Penny, we can't aim at toes here. She's not like not all these shots are gonna perfectly bounce up and hit him twice, but open up that possibility. Aim at his toes, and at least be hitting him with direct hits. Like you're very close to him here, you can definitely be direct hitting him.
Final 10 seconds.
Aiming too high. If we're not doing the bounce at the feet, we should be aiming lower so that it has more of a possibility it ricochets off something and hits back at them. We can also like stand here and have the orbs bounce back at us. That's another absolutely fine use of the orbs. In fact, in this position, it's probably even better than shooting at the feet. But we do need to be like hitting direct hits. Maybe shooting at them. Okay, nah. Okay, Rocket ult is okay. Let me put it this way, okay? Rocket ult is not the strongest defensive ulti. Okay, the reason for that is because Rocket has like, I mean, his whole kit is kind of like mediocre, but then he has a res. Okay, the res is so freaking strong. Okay, the ability to bring people back, like picks back, is extremely good. And unlike Mercy from Overwatch, he does it for free. He doesn't even need to fly in and like CPR them back to life like Mercy. He just gets a free res. Like you have to go and break it, and all the times you can't, right? So he has a trade-off. Okay, his trade-off is that um he doesn't have the best burst healing. That's one thing. The other thing is that he does not have the strongest ultimate. His ultimate can be broken. Okay, And because of that, you need to be a little bit more crafty and careful about how you position this thing. Putting it in front of the enemies is not the way to do it. Okay, they will. Good teams will just look at this thing and break it in like in this position like 2 seconds flat. This is gone instantly.
This is real.
Okay, I see here they're not breaking it. Okay, but that's because it's not the highest rank, right? They're making a mistake. The mistake is they're not looking at this thing. You can see Star's looking at it now, and he didn't finish it for some reason. But you get my point, though. That should you can see how much damage Star did to it. That actually, let's look at it. Look. Go back. I want to point that out. Okay, this is one character shooting the ult. Okay, that was one character, and he did that in about like what 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, imagine if they all did that instantly. I know they don't all have the same DPS level of Starlord, but they're still gonna output a decent chunk of damage, right? If everyone looks at the ulti and does that to it, it's gone instantly. All right, so you cannot have your ult here. If you feel the need to ult, you're going to want to probably put it right here. Or if there, you need to also be aware of what you're against. The biggest things to be concerned about are like Punisher, because if they Punisher ult, you cannot put it in like Punisher ult is one of the things that you really have to be super careful about with Rocket ulti. And if it's something like that, you're probably gonna need to tell your team to back up. Like tell your team in advance, like when if Punisher ults, we need to be ready to back up. And you're gonna stick your ult like right here in this corner where he can't shoot it. Right? Against something that's not Punisher ulti, you can just stick the ult like back here, because like I said, there's not much. The fall off damage plays a big role, and there's also a lot of people that are gonna be here that can't shoot it because their tanks are in the way. Um, but it is still off the ground, so a lot of people can still see it. But you cannot be putting it this far. This is like probably the worst place you could put it. Um, I'd also say let me go back. I didn't actually like focus on if it was a good time to use ult or not, so I'm gonna do that now. Nah, not really. I mean, Adam got critically low and died. But I mean, he got deleted so fast. That's kind of one of those situations to talk about. If your ally mispositions and dies instantly, it doesn't mean that you should have defensive ulted. It just means that they mispositioned and died instantly. Um, so I mean, thinking about like imagine this rocket ult was an Invis ult or something, then even then like putting it here, I don't really see the reason to. Your team is not risk of dying. You're on defense, so you're not really looking to actively find opportunities to ult and walk into their team, right? You're actively looking for ability to stall and keep your team alive and buy time for cart. You want to find ways to kill them, but you don't want to be like looking to dedicate defensive ults to just run them down all the time. Um, so this right here, probably not. Probably hold on to defensive ulti. Just kite back with your team. The only reason that you could consider to defensive ult here is to be offensive and try to kill them before they have the chance to get in a defensive ult and win the round because OT now. But you definitely didn't get your ult that fast, so I would not be trying to do that because there's a very high chance that they have a defensive ult ready, which they basically did. They're pretty close to it. Um, you'll probably kind of have the feel for if you got your defensive ult ridiculously fast. Um, I have the feel for it. Like I don't know the exact timing on it, but it's probably like if you got your ult within like 20 or 30 seconds or something. Like it'll be pretty fast. You'll know. Um, but yeah. Other than that, like we are not popping ulti here. We're playing back. Um, especially because you also just had two of your teammates die, so you're not really even in the position to try and run them down. You're at a numbers disadvantage. shoot this. This is one of the things I give you permission to shoot, okay? It's funny. Rocket is one of the best characters for killing Rocket ult, okay? Especially if your ult's still active, which I think it was for a little bit, you can stand kind of close, not like inside their team, but relatively close, and just nail this thing, okay? Because during your ultimate, your team should be okay, right? Be aware of people that are getting damaged through the shields, but it's 100 shield per second. They should be relatively safe, so you should be able to just kind of shoot this thing. And your minigun is very good for breaking rocket ult quickly. You're not going to be able to instantly destroy it on your own, but in combination with your teammates, like if you had a Starlord shooting it too, then yeah, you're going to kill this thing pretty freaking quick. So you can punish other rockets that place their ults in poor positions. Again, this would be the kind of position that we want to have our defensive ult, right? That's where we need it. The other thing too is you got to keep in mind these guys know that you're running a silly comp here. They know that you're running only one defensive ulti, so they see you pop it and you're like, guys, they don't have a defensive ulti. Let's go, 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 and they're just gonna run you down.
You're halfway there. Keep going. Almost there. Don't turn back now.
A shortcut through space. I'll patch you up.
I am ready to pull the show.
Okay. I like us sitting in the front and pocketing our team as they come out of the portal. The second that you come out, I like us coming out with the Scarlet Witch ulti. That makes sense to me because it's pressure. It allows us like a window opportunity. I would instantly dash twice up here so that I can drop a res here. All right, and then you can play from here and try to heal your team as much as you can from this position because this is a safer position. You want to get out of this portal, obviously. Like I understand why we go over here. This makes sense. Um, but I'd say this is probably the best place to go because putting the res here is super good, and playing in this position allows us to see everything. And it's kind of an awkward spot because they're focused on the portal right over here. They're probably not going to be focused as much on you right here. This is also not that bad. This is actually a pretty good play too. Coming out here to the side and putting res here. Oh. Wait. Wait. Wait, what the? Their witch came out of our portal? Wait, I need to see this. Ah, clever. Clever, clever, clever. I mean, you guys just kind of got finessed, I'm not gonna lie. That was a clever play by their Scarlet. Yeah. Well, could you have reacted to it though? Let's see. Alright, the second you see pure, I would probably. I mean, I think that I would in the moment recognize what's happening here because that's where the portal was, right? I mean, you have a portal. I'm seeing a Scarlet ult. So if you're ever seeing a Scarlet ult off in the distance, you should be thinking about, is there a portal here? So I'd probably scream at my team and say, look out, Scarlet ult coming to the portal, and then not walk out of this room. Stuff. Because, I mean, if you didn't die, you're resing one of these guys, and you're going to still be able to play here and try to pocket people. You'd probably still lose the point, but,
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
I'll patch you up.
Systems restoring.
More bad guys. Just find me. I'm just dying.
Not the biggest fan of having the res here. It's very easy for someone to come over here and break it instantly. And, you know, it's very important to keep this thing safe. I probably just come out to the side here and have my res. You know, you don't want to take too long, so you could just throw it here and play main, like throwing it from main. But if you have the opportunity to, maybe you can either put it in this corner or even better, put it. I like putting my res right here because then they don't see it over there. But you know, if you're coming out here and your team is actually fighting and you don't really have time, just throw it over here. This is better.
Arachnids are no more.
And I don't like playing in this position because there's a lot of ways that you could get screwed here and be like forced to use both your dashes to get over here, and then you don't have any of your dashes off cooldown. Not to mention, it's going to be hard for you to transition your position relative to the payload. Like you want to be able to cleanly move back here, and this is gonna make it so you have to do, like I said, like a janky thing by using both of your dashes. You can aim at her toes here. There's a pretty decent chance you can get double heal off. You also at least want to be hitting direct hit. I'm gonna guess that you probably win off of that on that round. Okay, cool. Now let's see. What happens in our OT? We go back to Invis. Interesting, okay.
Your current score is 4-2-3. Only 60 seconds left.
We must and shall feeling fantastic.
A little help, please.
Psionic surge.
Feeling fantastic. I got you covered. Feeling fantastic.
You see how the payload's getting ahead of us and getting in our way? We need to avoid this from happening. Be aware of, we need to be good at cleanly transitioning our position relative to the payload. Because on payload, it's not like you're sitting in the same place the whole time, right? Um, Especially on offense, like moving with the payload. So you need to be ready and able to move as the payload's moving. Because we're here, we need to already be shielding that guy and healing him.
I am strengthened for battle.
Pull your shield. Like I know it's like, yeah, just pull the shield. I like the pull and penny though. I do like the pull and penny. This guy needs to be healed. Yeah, you see how you don't have a shield for this guy? Your shield is very, very good for helping you heal flying characters, by the way, because they're a little bit harder for you to hit with your primary. And when you use your primary on them, you're not getting any additional value because you're not like shooting multiple targets. So you want to, if you can leave the shield in them and just let the shield heal them for a second, if it's like, you know, not directly uh in line of sight enemies, you can leave it there and then like line up through your allies. Also, you know, you can just drop the shield on them and heal them at the same time as primary fire. Um, but yeah, it's very useful to have your shield off cooldown to help with flying people.
Feeling stronger already.
Down to 30 seconds.
No worries. I got your back. Anyone willing to help?
You see how fast that shield went away? It didn't do anything and it's almost dead. And you're leaving it off at 30 HP. You just want to pull it so you have a full health shield back soon.
Psionic surge.
I know I said I wasn't gonna mention it, but like it's so important. It's like super important. I feel like I can't not mention it.
10 seconds. There's still a chance to stop them.
Feeling fantastic.
I like that we're moving up to be playing relative to the cart. This is good.
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
We needed some help.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
So it begins.
Keep pulling that back, that shield. Nah, I don't stick it in the front.
Ah, that's better. Feel the pull.
Better stop that vehicle!
I am ready to put on a show. Vortex field.
It's a good ulti. That is the time that we want to use it because our team is under pressure. Let me see. I think I would have got it, use it the second I got it. The main reason is I'm seeing 3 low health allies next to a Strange. And Strange has the potential to do that AoE burst. With Star hitting, this is the reason I would be ulting. These guys are looking like they're gonna die. I would probably just insta-ult this. Yeah. We're taking, it's nitpicky. I know it's a little nitpicky, but we are taking a little too long to put that down. It should be like press Q spam, like be spamming the Q, the left click after you press Q. Other than that, yeah, perfect ulti.
Real firepower!
It is tricky, but you do want to aim on being a little quicker to react to critically low health people that suddenly show up on your screen. That is a very important thing to be good at in Marvel Rivals as support, is quickly reacting to low health targets. That's one of the reasons your shield is so good. It helps you do that.
Unleash the Vishanti's power!
Wait, did you shield just the walker?
I unleash the
Oh, that's your teammate, right?
Vishanti's power!
Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, we're walking too far up. We can heal this guy here. I know we might be concerned about the cart getting in the way, but it is your frontline's job in this situation to not walk in front of the cart. They should know that. If they don't and they walk in front and you can't heal them and they die, in this situation that will be their fault, and it isn't a mistake of yours. Because of this exact situation, we can't afford to have ourselves walk up because we don't want to die to Strange. The second you see this guy on you, you have to jump backwards.
Unleash the Vishanti's
Okay, and then after he gets done there, we are still walking backwards. All right, we sure we'll be hitting him and healing our Strange, but we are playing back here. All right, we cannot risk ourselves dying to this Strange. And we end up dying to, yep, we did a Strange. That's the game.
Final score 5-2-4.
All right, well, thank you so much for participating. This was definitely a longer one, and I hope this helps. I'll leave a list of the main things to focus on in the description, like I usually do, for the of the Reddit post, like I usually do. If you have any additional questions for me or feedback, feel free to reply. And thank you so much.